Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. I'm Danny, this is Haley, and together we're Queens of Schemes. Today, we have part 2 of Super Patch for you. In our last video, we broke down the science behind the patches, the cost, and why we think people are getting sucked into this MLM.
In our last episode, we ended up spending a lot more time focusing on the science behind Super Patch because we felt that it was really important. MLMs like Super Patch throw around studies and scientific terms to make them look more professional, which makes it a lot harder for people to realize that this is actually a scam.
Let's dive right into it, starting by debunking some testimonials.
I touched on this a little bit in our last episode of Cringe Binge, but Facebook is like the cesspool of MLM misinformation, disinformation, whatever you want to call it. And they have these groups with thousands of people that give testimonials, and they crack me up. Some of them are so ridiculous that I'm just like, are people really believing that the super patch was what worked for them in this situation? So I think it's very important that we go over a few examples of why specifically the things that people say do not mean that super patch actually works.
And this is what the post says. So last night when we got home, my feet and legs hurt so bad I could barely walk. So I put a victory patch down by my ankle and the pain in my feet started to disappear. I would say within an hour, it was so much better. By morning, it's like gone. The power of these patches is still mind-blowing to me. I will say when I first heard of them, I was like, really? This can't work. But they truly do work and help. Get back to the person who added you to this page for more information.
I have a few theories on why people like really believe in super patch. We actually got quite a few comments of people very upset that we would suggest that super patch doesn't work because it's worked for them. And one of the things is people are going through something totally normal, like going out and walking around all day and having their feet hurt and putting a super patch on. And then when they have rested and sat down and a day has gone by and they suddenly feel better, they credit the super patch. So what I think is happening here, because this just happened to me the other day, I went to a concert, I was wearing shoes, I was standing, dancing, singing, whatever. My feet hurt when we got home because they were heels. Guess what? I went to bed and the next day my feet were totally fine. I think the same thing would have been true for this person had they not used a victory patch. Their feet and legs were hurting because they were walking around, and then within an hour, probably because they sat down and then they went to sleep, and in the morning they felt better.
It sounds like the body just healing itself, a very normal thing, as you say.
This isn't a situation that requires a super patch. Whether they put the victory patch on or not, they probably would have felt better in the morning.
And let's not forget the placebo effect, which is what we talked about last time. There's a really big difference between thinking there is a difference and science being able to prove that there actually was a difference. What the heck is going on in this picture?
So this is this person's daily lineup, which includes 9 super patches, 9 different
Daily.
ones. Each pack of super patches is $45 a month. So you're going to be spending over $400 a month on super patch, and you only get 28 per pack. So they don't even last an entire month.
And you know what we always say about puns in the MLM business? They are the best customers. This one is literally making sure that she has 9 different patches on the daily, which like you just said, that means you have to have 9 different patches on hand and they're about $45 per box. That's a lot of money being generated just from the reps themselves.
And for what? Because you're not getting a benefit out of those 9 patches. The person that's doing this probably really believes that they are receiving some type of benefit because that's why they're patching themselves with 9 of these every single day. But there's not anything that these 9 patches are going to do that's going to make you healthier than someone who's not doing this. This testimonial says, Tamara, I love Lumi. I was attacked by mosquitoes and I'm allergic. I instantly felt the bites and they itched so bad. 2 on my forehead and on my forearm and upper arm. Damn things got under or through my sleeve. When I came into the house, I rubbed the bites and cleaned forearm with alcohol. It's been about 20 minutes and the itching has stopped and swelling has gone down on the bites. I can barely tell where the bites were. So this is another thing that I see people doing with super patch is that they are putting a patch on and they are then doing some type of a treatment, but they are giving the credit to Super Patch. This person didn't just put the Lumi patch on and their mosquito bites stopped swelling. They also used rubbing alcohol, which would make sense as to why she was having the effects that she was after.
And a lot of the times, the people using these patches aren't being completely honest about the other treatments that they're doing to help them with whatever they're going through in that time. In this scenario, they're saying that they rubbed it, but what did you rub it with? Was it more than just alcohol? Was it afterbite medication? There's a lot of things that this person could have used to help alleviate the itching that she was getting from the bug bites.
And the reason that they're going to be giving credit to Lumi, the Lumi Super Patch, is because they want people to buy super patches from them.
And it's working because they have their reps slapping on 9 patches daily. When you've tried everything, therapy, medication, specialists, and you're still watching your child struggle, hope starts to feel out of reach. That was our story. My son Steven has faced emotional regulation challenges for years. I won't label him, I just call them his issues. You're laughing at me?
No, I'm laughing at she just calls them his issues.
Okay, good.
A very interesting thing that a parent would do, but okay, continue. Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. My son Steven has faced emotional regulation issues for years. I won't label him. I just call them his issues. But the meltdowns, the shutdowns, the psych stays, it's been heartbreaking. Not long ago, we were on the verge of increasing his medications again. Out of the blue, Steven asked if we could try the patches again. We'd used them before during a crisis, and it hadn't gone well. But this time, something felt different. He was calm, clear, and specific about where he wanted them placed. We gave it another try. When I picked him up from Camp Friday, I braced myself. He looked upset. But instead of the usual outburst, he quietly said, "I'm sad and frustrated." That was huge. His aide later told me she was amazed. No yelling, no meltdown, just calm communications. That day, we processed it all together. He asked for peace and joy patches every day. And he told me in his own words, "I feel more calm when I have the patches on." We're now using Focus by Request and Freedom for Pain Support. But peace and joy, game changers. If you're at your wit's end, try this. 25% off your first order, money back guarantee. You have absolutely nothing to lose and possibly everything to gain.
Well, you absolutely do have something to lose. 25% off your first order, and she's using 4 different patches. That's about $160 a month that you'll be wasting if you just want to be a customer. You have that to lose per month to fix your kids' issues. And yeah, I say that in the rudest way possible because as if a parent actually wrote this about their child. It's an extremely big claim to say that after your child's years of emotional struggles, meltdowns, and even psych stays, that their child suddenly started communicating calmly, all thanks to the peace and joy patches.
And we also want to state that we're not here to judge anybody's parenting styles or any problems that they may be experiencing with their children. However, this testimony in and of itself is screaming red flags. And to even suggest that these patches are the reason why these significant breakthroughs have been happening is a little bit of a far reach.
And back to what I said, no, I'm not necessarily judging this person's parenting. I'm judging the post itself. I don't appreciate when parents use their children and the issues that they are going through to schlep their MLM products to try to get people to buy them. So when people in MLMs make posts like this, they give a lot of false hope to other parents that, spending this amount of money on Super Patch is going to work for them. And they're potentially not going to utilize resources that have tools that could actually help children that are going through regulation challenges, emotional challenges. It really depends on what they're going through. And you can't just slap 4 stickers on it as a cure-all for that. Posts like this really help highlight why testimonials are not reliable. They can exaggerate results and make people believe something works when there's no real evidence. I wanted to include this because it's just another good example of things that heal naturally that people give credit to Super Patch for. Lumi is a keeper, results over time. Some people started complimenting my glow. It was very sweet. I would never have dreamed a different outcome with a burn, but here is a different comparison. 2nd-degree burns settled quickly and didn't hurt once I got them them to stop burning my skin. They dried up. Because I am experimenting with other patches, I recently took a break from Lumi to try other areas of optimization. I got a first-degree burn 8 days ago and it didn't do so well. More tender and delicate. It even developed a little scab and the skin is peeling. My before photo was taken 2 weeks ago before I started patching with Lumi. I was wearing Ignite, Kick It, and often use Liberty or Victory. This group is to help others. If you are in this group, it is because someone cared to share. Please follow up with the person who invited you. The first thing that I noticed about this post is that these are all regular photos of the normal healing process of a blister.
And there's a part of me that is really hoping that this person didn't inflict these wounds on themselves to prove a point with Super Patch, because we see that a lot with Huns who do the weirdest experiments to prove a point.
That is not something I even thought of, but it also makes me concerned. We kind of just talked about this with the kid thing, that people are going to get injuries, and instead of seeking medical attention or using over-the-counter products that would be beneficial to them, they'll just buy 4 or 5 different super patches and slap them on and hope that that works.
And I do have to highlight a little part of this post. Second-degree burns settled quickly and didn't hurt once I got them to stop burning my skin. So how did you get the patch to stop burning your skin? And if your skin was burning, maybe we shouldn't be putting the patch on top of it. Maybe we should just follow like the doctor's advice or first aid CPR for burns.
So once she resolved the pain issue, she put Super Patch on and they naturally did the healing, which kind of again just discredits Super Patch, because I thought that's what Super Patch was for. I don't see any mention of her saying that she used a Super Patch to get rid of the pain. That was all done after she resolved everything, which probably included other remedies like we just talked about.
The truth is, our bodies are capable of healing on their own. You don't need 4 overpriced patches to do what your skin was already going to naturally do. Here's another ridiculous testimonial. My daughter is trying to get her driver's license. On her first try, she got 29 wrong, so failed the test. Test was rescheduled a week later. This time, she is wearing a Peace and Focus patch and defense patch because she is stuffy. She passed with only 9 wrong, and maybe she just studied a little extra before this test.
Or the more likely thing is, don't they tell you what the wrong answer is when you get them wrong after you do the test the first time?
And then you have an opportunity to correct yourself. Problem solved.
It's not uncommon for kids to take that test more than once because they get the questions wrong the first time. Definitely had nothing to do with wearing a peace patch.
My dad would not be having it if I tried to tell him that I failed my driving test because I wasn't wearing a focus patch.
Well, it's ridiculous. It would be ridiculous to insinuate that you failed the first time because you weren't wearing this patch. If it was that easy and that all you would have to do is wear a peace patch or a focus patch to pass the test, guess what? We'd all be doctors here. The day that I start believing that something like a peace and focus patch is what's going to make me smarter and be able to pass all these tests is the day I start walking around with a tinfoil hat on. And excuse my language, I know we normally save that for cringe binge, but I am very passionate about debunking super patch testimonials because they are ridiculous. This is almost as bad as the one where they were trying to move the couch and they couldn't do that without wearing a super patch. So these 2 pictures are posted by the same person, and the reason that I included it is because you'll notice that when you think that somebody would go, oh my gosh, I should be using my super patch because it does everything, they actually use medication. So the first part says, I forgot that my Freedom Patch had lost its stick and come off after my Fox Lake adventure on Thursday night until about 6 p.m. yesterday when my joints were really sticky and sore. I'd done a Nordic walking class in the morning. I added one to my Ignite and Liberty, and all is feeling a bit better this morning. As I'm going out to be in the sun relaxing with my book today, I'm adding a Defend to keep on top of any hay fever symptoms. I've got 7 and 14-day trial packs available if anybody wants to test out the vibro-tactile technology themselves. No ingredients except the 3M tape, no contraindications to your routine meds, or get a 25% discount on the full 28-day pack. What are you doing in the sunshine today? And then her next post, the downside of going sea swimming in jellyfish season. Antihistamine cream slapped on and tablets swallowed. So I would fully expect a Hun to be slapping a super patch on after the sea swimming adventure and not be jumping right to medication, but they don't.
And I mean, I guess it's nice to see a Hun know the difference between when you need medication and when you feel like entertaining a patch.
It is, except the only problem I find with that too is she's saying that she's using the Defend patch to keep on top of her hay fever symptoms, which says to me she has some type of an allergy. But then when it comes down to a real like emergency or allergy or whatever by the jellyfish stings, we're not using the defend patch. They often say you can use the defend patch to stop from contracting illnesses, and that's why she's using it for her hay fever. But then when it comes down to getting stung by jellyfish, neither of the patches that she's using are an option.
Make it make sense.
I just don't think that you can possibly have thousands and thousands of people making these different types of medical claims and then also in the same breath be saying, oh, well, you know, when it's something more serious, I use medication. I felt that it was really important for us to point out basically the exact opposite of what this person is saying in our comments. So they had something to say about our last super patch video, and they said, if you research the pain patch, it is for people with minor aches and pains. It doesn't cure anything. Now, if your knee is rubbing bone to bone, it probably would give you little relief or none at all. Just research and stop speculating. Why would these patches be in hospitals? For what reason? They don't cure or treat anything, just temporary relief. Chick, just do your research.
Just do your research, Haley.
Just do your research, Danielle. What were you thinking?
Well, spoiler alert, we did do our research and there is no scientific evidence stating that these super patches do anything.
If we just take some time to do a little bit of critical thinking, how many times do people go to walk-in clinics or the hospital for minor aches and pains? Those ailments are very common. People are 100% looking for a solution to the minor aches and pains, to taking Tylenol, to taking Advil, to, you know, potentially trying other things and other medications that they're being prescribed. They are 100% visiting a doctor for things like this. So if these worked, would they be in hospitals? Absolutely. For people that have like, you know, minor back pain, maybe because they have an old injury, I'm sure they would love to be able to slap a freedom patch on and not feel any pain. The next thing I want to go over quickly is how professional organizations that specifically deal with pain management feel about super patch. We did not have the opportunity in our last video to see during the pitch where the demonstrator says that super patch is endorsed by Health Canada, but I want to make it very clear that they absolutely do not endorse super patch. Health Canada does not think that super patch works. They do not think that people should be using super patch, and they definitely recommend against it. But unfortunately, in these pitches that super patch is making, they are saying the opposite. So this article is from the Quebec Pain Research Network. It's talking about the new vibro-tactile technology for pain management, which they refer to as super patch. We discussed what this technology was in our first video. The skin is the largest organ in the human body, and its surface is an effective channel for transmitting information through touch. Tactility is the sensation perceived by the sense of touch, resulting from the simulation of skin receptors by modalities such as vibration and pressure. The concept of tactile technologies is based on the skin's ability to transmit information using these modalities. Vibro-tactile technologies are composed of vibrating components that deliver information through parameters such as frequency, amplitude, waveform, or duration. Feedback is generally provided by small light vibrators such as those in a telephone that vibrates in our pocket when a call is received. So same thing we brought up in part one, the technology that they're saying they're using, you just can't possibly put into this patch. It's not vibrating, it's not doing anything, it's just sitting on your skin. So there's no way for it to stimulate the receptors. So then it asked, do you know about super patches? Recently, the super patch company introduced its new super patches featuring vibro-tactile technology. To see how this technology is supposed to work, take a look at figure 1. What do the experts think about super patch? Pain management experts are skeptical about this technology, which claims to use a system of ridge patterns similar to a QR code to send signals to the brain. According to these experts, the device looks more like a simple piece of flexible, transparent plastic decorated with a raised pattern reminiscent of a fingerprint. They add that no vibrations are detectable and that there is no apparent internal components to support the manufacturer's claims.
I hate to say it, but it looks like part 1 of super patch was correct.
But we forgot to do our research. So I'm not really sure how that can be, but you know, here we are. A whole article backing up exactly what we said. How strange.
And look, this is just confirming that when we say that the studies were not reliable, we're not the only ones who feel that way. And look at what they said right in the middle. Although the study compares individuals using socks equipped with vibro-tactile technology with those wearing standard socks, it neglects certain fundamental practices to ensure the reliabilities of the results. Sounds like what we were trying to say. On the one hand, it lacks randomization, which means that the order in which the socks were used was not randomly assigned to the participants. On the other hand, there was no blinding of participants, so everyone was aware of the types of socks they were testing. Furthermore, although the article mentions a positive effect of socks with vibro-tactile technology, according to the statistics, there is no tangible proof that this actually modifies pain sensations or improves the participants' quality of life. So we came to different conclusions, but to the same conclusion. This was not a good study to rely on the results.
I'm going to leave the link to this article in the description of this episode if you want to read the whole thing. The only other important part that we want to point out is what are the important details to know about super patch? Super patches are not approved by Health Canada, which raises questions about their safe and regulated use. In terms of cost, they can quickly become expensive. A pack of 28 patches is sold for $60, with each pass lasting 24 hours. It's also mentioned that 2 to 3 patches can be used simultaneously. What's more, according to the information available on the company's website, super patches are claimed to be drug-free, gluten-free, paraben-free, latex-free, hypoallergenic, and GMO-free. However, one point of concern is that the company has not disclosed the exact composition of these patches, as highlighted in their promotional video entitled "What are the ingredients in super patch?" This lack of transparency on ingredients can be a cause for concern for consumers concerned about the composition of the products that they use, which actually plays into another theory that I have about super patch, because I think that there's a few reasons why people say that super patch works, and another one could be that super patch is lying, that it's not medicated. There's no way for us to know if they're not going to reveal what the patch is composed of. Maybe they are putting something in super patch. Maybe there's something on the film that's making people have these good reactions, and we're just crazy sitting here saying that they don't work. It's very possible that they could just be lying and they do work, but it's not because they don't have no ingredients. It's because they would have ingredients. The last thing I want to talk about that seems to give super patch a lot of credibility is this ridiculous balance and stability test. So this person, I think, is somebody who's a little bit higher up in super patch, and their video about the balance and stability test, this one got over 36,000 views. So let's see what it's all about.
Put your feet completely together. Wait a minute. We can fix that. I'm having trouble with my hip.
Okay.
Does it hurt? Yeah. She said she's having trouble with her hip. It's hurting, so we're gonna help you out. Here. Tight against your chest and resist. Now go gentle, okay? Okay. I'm gonna do it one more time. I'm just gonna use one hand too, because I can already tell there's some different stuff, pains going on. Face the crowd. Feet shoulder apart, hands by your side. Make a fist. I'm gonna pull up, and I do. You do just that, okay? 3, 2, 1. One more time. 3, 2, 1. And I'm barely moving right there. Excuse me. I'm getting the power out right now. How many of y'all get frustrated if your internet doesn't work like right away? You'll never get frustrated with these patches. They work right away. 7 seconds. We have brain mapping too, so I mean it's proven. It's proven. Okay, face me. Feel anything different? Yet? All right. Feel like this, like this. You will. Put your feet all the way together. Okay. Now resist. Butler, Pennsylvania. I've never been hit before. Michelle, what did you bring me to?
Right.
All right, ready for the next one? I'm ready. All right, feet shoulder width apart. Hands by your side, make a fist. I'm gonna pull up, same pressure. I'm ready for you. 3, 2, 1. Yeah? Yeah. You wanna keep it on? Yeah. You wanna do some jumping jacks? This is so great.
First of all, somebody explain to me what that test was. What kind of balance test was that?
The super patch one to prove that it works.
Super patch is just super placebo. They need to start changing the name of this company. That's all it is.
It is. And another thing that I noticed is this person specifically, when she does the balance test, if you watch it again, you'll notice it's like such tiny little movements trying to push her down in the beginning. And then in the second one, she's on like both knees, allegedly trying to pull this poor old person to the ground. It's so exaggerated, it's ridiculous. Basically, the thing that they're trying to portray here is that the super patch is magic, but unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that super patch is not magic. The only thing changing is your expectation. When someone tells you that the patch is going to make you stronger, your brain and muscles cooperate without even realizing it. This is a classic classic demonstration trick. Slight changes in angle, pressure, or the person's effort make it look like the patch is doing something, but there's no scientific evidence behind it. The other thing is they don't really know what you're doing the first time. They're just telling you, okay, put your hands together and, put your feet like this. They don't tell you they're going to be pulling on you. You're definitely going to be thinking about that the second time that they perform this on you.
And I think we've come to the conclusion that they're using these flashy demos to make people think that it works and it's proven, when in reality it's just theater.
So if you see this test, remember, real results aren't measured by a quick push on your arms. This should be measured by credible, peer-reviewed evidence, which this product doesn't have. Don't get fooled by the hype. This is marketing, not medicine. Thanks for joining us for Super Patch Part 2, where we debunked testimonials, discussed why Health Canada does not endorse Super Patch, and why we think their strength and stability test is total baloney. I'm not going to put any type of timeline on it, but I do want to do a Super Patch Part 3 because we didn't really get to go over the compensation plan yet. That's going to be our last thing to discuss later on with Super Patch, on why we still think this is a scam and why we don't think that Super Patch works. And I think my theories are pretty solid. They're either lying that the patches don't contain medication, but they actually do. We also think that the placebo effect has a lot to do with why people give these patches credibility. And my other theory was that people are going through like normal aches and pains in everyday life, which is going to fluctuate. Some days I wake up and I have a little bit of back pain, and the next time I don't. But because they're using the Super Patch and things are maybe going away like they normally would, they're giving credit to Super Patch when really that's just them living their life and natural changes that would occur within the body.
Or it's just a classic pyramid scheme and they'll say whatever they need to recruit.
If you have a theory that you want to add from what you've seen, we would love to hear it in the comments. Danny and I are very passionate about the anti-MLM community, so we have also opened up an Etsy store with some anti-MLM stickers. I'm going to leave the link in the description if you'd like to take a look and order. We offer free shipping in Canada and free international shipping if you spend over $20. Thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to Queens of Schemes on YouTube, where we call out scams and MLM lies.
Thank you.